Hello everyone, this is the first in a series of videos I'm gonna make about my cockpit. I've made this cockpit over the past year, but I've taken probably the last 3 weeks to really refine it and build the shape. Once I knew what I was doing, it was quite quick to execute, but otherwise it's been a fun project and not much money spent for it, I would say. So let me go quickly over the parts. As you can see, there is a computer right there. I'm using one of my existing home PCs for that. Further on the bottom we have side-tech pedals. Okay, so that's quite simple. Here we have side-tech yoke. Again, this is existing setup I used to have for quite some time. Behind side-tech yoke there are cutouts in the plywood for primary flight display, navigation display, engine display. Behind these two I have a single 23-inch widescreen monitor, and there's a 19-inch monitor behind the engine display. On the right of the engine display we have a landing gear lever, which I've made myself using PVC, plywood, micro switches, and reusing circuit from side-tech switch panel, and I also use that engine start control for my auto brake. On top we have Go Flight MCP and FS controls. Okay, this is from Go Flight. It's perhaps one of the most expensive items in this whole setup. Further to the left of it we have a side-tech informational panel, and to the left of the side-tech, as you can see, that red tiny button, that's to simulate pressing of the master warning reset switch. Going down below we have iPad mini with the virtual CDU software on it, and have a mini keyboard. Primarily I use it when I do flight planning as well as when I have to interact with ATC. On the right of that I have a 24-inch Dell touchscreen display, which is quite useful if I want to fly, for example, 777, although most of the time spent flying 737 in this simulator. But if I want to fly 777 and I use, for example, checklist menu, you can use the touchscreen to go for that, just like in a real aircraft. In front of that we have a throttle quadrant. This is work by Andy from Flight CMPM, fully operational. Every single thing works here. We have a spoiler control, we have a throttles, reversers, takeoff, go around buttons, auto throttle disconnect button, flaps, settings, trim wheels both rotate, parking brake with red light illuminating, engine cutoff switches, and stabilizer trim switches as well. Every single thing work. Have taken me probably half an hour to program all of them. Once you know how to use FSU IPC, you know exactly what you're doing. And in front of that we have a side-tech, again, radio panels. Two of them. I use the top for communication, CAM1, CAM2. The bottom one I use for navigation frequencies, as well as a setting transponder and some other miscellaneous stuff. And above the glare shield we have 3 27-inch displays, which I use predominantly for outside view. I prefer to use virtual cockpit inside of them because in combination with easy dock camera, it creates all that shaking from turbulence and running into the bumps on the ground quite nice. So 3 27-inch displays connected using triple head to go from Matrox. Brilliant idea from that manufacturer, excellent job. And my recent creation is this homemade overhead panel. 52 switches, I believe. I might be wrong, could be more at this point. I have in it, as you can see on the bottom, I have landing lights, taxi lights, runway turn-off lights. There's various lights on the right, like logo, strobes. There's engine startup switches. They used in real aircraft or round knobs, but if you use 3-position switch, you can simulate a similar behavior. There's also APU start on off switch. On the left hand side, as you can see, there's 6 switches for fuel control. There's switches for generators, ground power connector, and there's a chime, seatbelt signs. Then further up we have hydraulic switches with 4 yellow lights. By the way, there's also around 35 or something like that LED lights involved in the setup as well, which all connected with the switches to the Go Flight digital input-out board. And then we also have air control switches here. We have anti-ice switches for engine and wing anti-ice, windows heat and probe heat. Here we have a dome light switch. It's a double pole switch, allows me to operate both light in the virtual cockpit as well as this black lamp, as you can see on the right hand side. And I have IRS left and right, off and align modes simulated there. Here I have a master battery switch and a 3-position switch to flip the power between ground, APU and generator 1 and 2. And we have a yaw damper switch here. So altogether, this panel actually taken me approximately a week and a half to put together. It wasn't that long. The longest part was spent in wiring LEDs and troubleshooting them, because I just, for example, couldn't use the common ground wire for all of them. They're so sensitive to changes in current. You have to run the ground wire for each of them individually. That's why it have taken me significantly longer. While for all other regular flip switches have taken me very quick, because I use one common ground wire for all of them. And I have this L-shaped bracket on the right hand side holding it, attaching to the main contraption, as my wife calls it. So anyway, this is the high-level review of a setup. In the next video I'm gonna go over engine startup shutdowns, and you're gonna see how all the switches, especially the one on the overhead panel, make total sense, why this is such as a critical component of overall setup, and brings reality so much closer. Okay, well, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.